Hi there. I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself today. Got a sore finger, so I can't really paint today. Um, it's Sunday, so I went along to fabulous club, Kings Lynn RPG and Role Playing Club. Absolutely fantastic. I started going last week and really enjoyed myself. But they just don't seem to have many active fantasy players at the moment. Had a chat with one of the people today, and he's gathering together some people. I think he's got about 8 names down on a piece of paper, but as we all know, people who say they're willing, by the time they actually become willing, the list will dwindle. However, the main reason for that is I've not been playing very long. But I feel a really good way for me to learn how to play the game is to actually play the game. So, in about 2 months' time, there's a tournament coming up in Norwich, run by the Aftermath Club. Aftermath 10, I think it's called. It's a 2-day event. It's £20. I'll just quickly run through their rule book. Um, and for me, it's an absolutely perfect starting tournament. First of all, it's 2 months away, so that gives me plenty of time to prepare. I'm not going to win. I'm not going there with the intention of winning. Sorry, I'm not going there believing I can win. What happens on the day, you just don't know. I could roll sixes all day long, and I'll win, no problems. But there's a load of trophies going, and I feel I might come away with something. You've got best overall tournament champion. You've got best generalist, best hobbyist, best sportsman, Sunday best. I don't know what Sunday best is. Best comeback, most violent. Not really going to go for that one. I got spanked, which sounds like something I can win. Best team and where did it all go wrong? I'll win the where did it all go wrong because I'll know before. I know today where it's all going to go wrong. Lack of experience. The army, 2,400 point army. Sounds a lot. In actual fact, it isn't. I've got my Island of Blood set, and I've done a trade with somebody online. So they're going to be sending me a general on Griffin, Spearmen, Archers, Silver Helms with magic items. That boosts my army to about 2,300. I'm not bothered about spending every single available point. So I'll turn up 100 points short. Not a problem so long as I have a good time. The army does not have to be fully painted, but not being fully painted will affect your score. That's fine. That takes away a lot of pressure for me for painting. However, it does say later on in the rule book that you pick up. You pick up. I can't remember how many points you get now. Every model is painted to gaming standard 3 colours minimum. I'm assuming at this stage, I am waiting clarification that 3 colours minimum means 3 base coats, 3 base colours. So, weaponry, armour, skin, cloak. That's 4 different colours there. So, special characters are allowed. Okay, I've said before, I'm not into special characters. The reason I'm not into special characters is because I want my army to be my army. It doesn't include history from official Warhammer books, etc., etc. And if you want to use that, that's absolutely fine. The theme of my army is that I start off with one general who went into battle, She lost. She came away dejected, embarrassed to go back. She's wandered around the world gathering her army, and the army's going to grow. In realism, what's going to happen is, as I buy a unit to paint, that represents the growth of her army. So, carrying along that theme, even though proxies at this particular tournament will be allowed, then I'm still not going to use proxies. I'll go into proxies a little bit more later on in the video, because I want to role play my army, whether she's brilliant or whether she turns out to be completely useless. That's fine, but I'll go with what I've got. Then it's going to be my first battle. If I get spanked because I'm missing this particular unit, then that creates a to-do list for me. If hopefully the 6 people I'll be playing, hopefully they'll give me feedback on my army, and if they say to me, for example, I would have put more silver helms in, or I would have put some sisters in, or change your magic weapons on your generals, then that's what I can look at doing. And then as I play more tournaments, then obviously my army will become more refined. So that's fine. End times lists are allowed, which is a bit of an issue for me because I don't really understand end times. That's not a problem. The 50% Lords and Heroes plus the Law of Undeath errata will be used. Again, that's fine. I don't go in much for my Lords and Heroes. I use them. I try to make the most of them. As it stands, I'm having a Lord who will be my general, who will eventually become, and I can't even pronounce this. I'm not even going to pronounce it, but I have a name for my general. At the moment, it's a guy. It's the Prince on a Griffin. That will change as I go. Maybe I should just quickly go out and buy a figure, and so I've got my general. But that's another story. So I'll have my Lord, I'll have my hero, and I'll have my Archmage because it's 2,400. I will build more mages and archmages and generals into my army. Obviously, what I play on the day. I think, having never played a tournament or a proper game yet, excuse me, I'm itching today. Not having actually played a tournament yet, I don't know for a fact what's going to be good, what's going to be bad. But I'm thinking 3 lords, heroes, etc. That should be enough for me. My archmage is going to be hidden within a unit to make use of. Basically, I think if he's a single character and he's moving at normal pace, he's just going to be picked off. So he's going to hide in a unit of either spearmen or archers, probably archers. Right, the aim of the tournament weekend is that it's going to be as enjoyable as possible. That obviously follows with me, and ensure more than just the overall winner goes home with a prize. Suits me. Once we've covered the extra cost, all extra income goes into the prize fund. So maybe that means if a lot of money's being made, then they'll have extra prizes. I don't know. I saw one tournament, they gave out prizes for, I'm a biker, so we have an expression, Rally Virgin, which means it's your first ever rally. So I suppose the expression I'm going to use is a tournament virgin. Obviously I'm going to be a tournament virgin. Maybe they'll do something for this, who knows. And the bit I really, really like, each entrant will receive a pair of Souvenir D6. I think that's an absolutely fantastic prize, because there's only so many people going to be entering this tournament. All of the people who enter the tournament will receive that D6. Now, it's 2 dice. Okay, that's probably how most people will look at it. But it's 2 dice that most of the whole world of Warhammer players don't have. How special is that? Minimum age 18. You must use your magic laws. Blah, blah, blah. And I've seen some tournaments, they ask you for a list about a month in advance. You only have to submit your list a week in advance, which means I've got all that time to change my list. The money includes breakfast. Did I see breakfast? Unlimited tea and coffee. It's good for me. Plus breakfast cakes and donuts. So we've got a 2-day event where I'm guaranteed to win a prize in the form of D6, tea and coffee, plus breakfast cakes and donuts for a tenner a day. And it's a bit of a laugh. I think that's brilliant value for money. And it's 25 miles, 50. So I'll be 100 miles, probably about 100 miles I'll be doing in my car to get there and back, which at the rate my car goes, it's 20 quid's worth of fuel. So basically the weekend's going to cost me about £40. If you put a price on coffee at say £1 a cup, breakfast at 2 or 3 quid, cakes and donuts 50p to £1 each. That's good. I like that. I'm really, really happy with that. So the bad bit, Saturday and Sunday, I have to be there by 8:30 for registration, welcoming and briefing. Means I've got to get up early in the morning. Game starts at 9, lunch at 11:30, 12:30, game 2, 3:15, game 3, finish at 5:45. Day 2, you only get 45 minutes for lunch and you only get 15 minutes for registration, so the award ceremony is at 5:30. That looks fun. 6 different tournament level things, so lots of variety there. I think I will come away from this with a lot of knowledge, maybe too much knowledge, so it means I'll probably have to do another tournament. So we play 6 battles. We will be using, they haven't mentioned the name, but it's what I've learned to be the Swiss system. I've never played anything under the Swiss system, but basically the way it's going to work is first round is going to be drawn randomly and I'll win or lose. And the second game, if I win my first game, then my second game I'll end up playing somebody else who's won. If I lose my first game, I'll end up playing someone in the second round who's lost. So we're on more of an even level then. And basically, as it progresses, you will play somebody with, excuse me, basically what's going to happen is you will score victory points in your games, and you will score between 20 and 0 points, depending on if you win, lose or draw. What will happen is whoever's in the lead after one game will then play player number 2, whoever's in second. Third will play fourth, fifth will play sixth, seventh will play eighth, etc, etc, etc. Then after game 2, you have rankings. So whoever's now in the lead will play whoever's now in second. So what will happen is if I lost all of my games, what should happen in theory is that each game should get easier. Because I'm going to be playing someone who is also losing, which means that theoretically they're not as good a player. So by the time I get to game number 6, I should be playing someone more, I won't say on my level because my level is so far down here, but basically I'll be playing someone there. Now, the aim of my day, 2 days, I have a very, very simple target. I'm playing 6 games. If I get thrashed, I lose 20-0. If I lose by between 1,800 and 2,000 points, I will lose 19-1. So my aim is very, very simple. I want to come away from the tournament scoring a minimum of 3 points. That's 1 point every 2 games. Simple. So, clarification. Simple rules. I think they're simple. I understand them, so they must be simple. No unit may cost more than 500 points. I'll have to double check my list, but I think that's the case with mine, mainly because I don't have big blocks of figures. I did actually throw my list onto a forum, and they told me I've got an awful lot of figures. Sorry, I've got a lot of units. Might cause a problem because small units, but then lots of units, does that mean I can be hitting them on the flanks? I don't know. What's the difference between 1 unit of 40 and 2 units of 20? I don't know. Because I'm not very good with magic, this one's a little bit, I get it, but no more than 3 additional power dice plus 2 additional dispel dice may be generated. Obviously there's spells that will give you extra power dice, or magic items that will give you power dice. Do we understand what magic is? I'll do another video on magic. Roll for wins and magic and any channels used. Maximum additional dice limits includes dice from any source, with a couple of exceptions that don't apply to me because I'm high elves. No more than 12 power dice can be used in one magic phase. Which actually then you're saying because you roll for your power dice 2d6, you could roll a double 6, which will give you 12 power dice. If you've then got magic items that give you additional power dice, that negates that object, so then that becomes a waste of money, doesn't it? I don't know. Spells that allow no saves of any kind. Magic resistance overrides the no saves of any kind rule and always gives a ward save against spells. Okay, right, fine, that might not apply to me. And the Banner of World Dragon has not magic resistance. No more than 5 artillery pieces may be taken. Well, I'm actually not taking any because I don't own any. No more than 5 flying units per army. Well, I've only got 2. To be honest with you, with 2,400 points, I don't know if I'd take that many anyway. Various little rules. One rule I like, may work against me being a new player. If you voluntarily flee your units on turn 6, they actually count as being destroyed for the purposes of working out victory points. But then wouldn't that be dirty play anyway? Which I'll get to. They've got a rule on that one as well. Garrison a building. I'm not even going to go into that because I don't get it. It just says about you can only have 20 characters in there. Maybe that's it. Gamesmanship etiquette. This just makes me laugh because conga lines, questionable reforms and such tactics are not banned, but are frowned upon at this event and should be reflected in the sportsmanship scoring. If you employ such tactics, your opponent must mark you as a gamey game. Conga lines. I've just got visions of a champion at the front, and then you're lining up all your figures, and they go on do. Come on, and anyway, line of sight and deployment etiquette. The rules for true line of sight will be used as per the rule book. So I'm going to have to reread this. It says, remember that tails, wings, weapons, extravagant scenic bases and the like do not count as the model when determining LOS, line of sight. Please note there are no lookout serves for the big spells at this year's events. Okay, don't understand that one yet. And this is funny, when packing your bags, you always get a when packing your bags. No, this is what you have to bring with you. 2 copies of your roster. It's not a problem. Dice, templates, pens, and a tape measure. I don't actually have a tape measure. I have 2 sticky sticks that came with Island Blood. That'll do for me. Your army's rulebook and your latest errata file for your army. On High Elves, we don't have an errata yet. I guess Games Workshop hasn't screwed the army up yet. Trade to place your army on prior to deployment. I haven't actually got any movement trays yet, so I'm going to have to buy some. I'm going to have to work out what I need. I saw a video about someone made the comment my movement trays were illegal. I'm going to have to check that one, but the rule says a tray, so I'm guessing if I actually couldn't stretch to £10 in the next 2 months, I'll probably make one. But I was being sarcastic when I said can't come up with £10 in 2 months. And lastly, and this sounds obvious, but your army. No army can't play, I guess. Winning prizes at the tournament. Overall champion, up to 200 points. Best sportsman, you get between 0 and 25 points. I guess your opponent rates you after each game. You get 3 points if you played in a friendly manner. My opponent didn't worry about conserving points or playing for small win. He helped the game in a great and fun way. 2 is typical, a typical tournament player, hard fought, no real disputes. He did run his army into the corner to avoid a bigger defeat. Basically anything that is written that is within the rules, but you'd only see in the tournament game rather than friendly. So I'm guessing from that many people play differently in tournaments than friendlies. And 0 is gamey or bad. And at the end of your 6th game, you must nominate your favourite opponent. Extra sportsman points are scored in this way. 4 points for the 3 best opponent votes. 5 points for the 4 best opponent. 6 for the 5 best opponent votes. And 7 points for the 6 best opponent votes. 3 sixes are 24. So I don't know how they work that one out, but that's fine. Best hobbyist. I don't know. I'm on one hand I'm thinking I could actually win this, because I fulfill everything bar 1. But it's that one that I would have, and if everybody can do the same, then I could probably actually be drawn last. Painted, you get 15 points for every single model is painted to gaming standards 3 colour minimum. Isn't that a sliding scale of 0 to 15? I don't know. Or do you just get 15 if everything's painted? An additional 4 points if your army is painted to a high level with highlight shading freehand. If just one model hasn't been painted, then 0 points. 10 points if every single one is based to a gaming standard with sand or flock. That's not something I can do at the moment, but I'm going to be doing a video because I'm ordering some sand and some little tufty grassy things. I've got one figure that's finished now. It's a rat ogre, so it's not anything to do with my high elves. Tuesday I'm booked into the Norwich Games Workshop store to learn how to base. And the reason I'm booked into the Norwich store, they've got a VIP scheme. You have to fulfill lots of little tasks, and if you fulfill enough tasks, you get a VIP membership, which essentially just gives you entitlement to rummage through their bits box. Okay. So there's a couple of other benefits, but it doesn't really work out for me. So, but it's still a challenge. Bases extra detail. If the entire army's bases are modelled to a high standard, decoration, ruin, shrubbery, grassy tufts or flowers, you get an additional 3 points. So if you put sand on your base, you get 10 points. If you put a tuft of grass on, you get another 3 points. Sounds good to me. WYSIWYG, which stands for what you see is what you get. The model represents what is on your army roster. If you've got the majority of your models are exactly as they are written in the book. So, for example, if I have a unit of 20, I'm trying to find. Bear with me. I'll find some addition. I'll give you an example using high elves, of course. Right. So we have a unit of. This is the trouble with my high elves, is that they don't really have that many upgrade options. Here we are. No, that's not. Right, Lothern Seaguard. I have shields are an option. I think my Seaguard that come with Island Blood, they actually have shields with them. So if I didn't upgrade to shields, then the majority of my unit are carrying shields, but they don't actually have shields. So to win those 5 points, I'd have to spend the points on shields. So that's what I mean. If you've got a character, you've listed him, you've bought an additional hand weapon, and he's standing there like this with one weapon, and his figure doesn't have 2 weapons, that's not WYSIWYG. That's simple enough. Best Army nomination. This is the one that I probably won't win, won't get points on. The Army has the wow factor and has been nominated for Best Army judging. The Army shows a high kill level of painting, is themed well, shows skilled freehanding conversions. All nominations are judged by the rest of the players. So that's the only 5 points I think I won't get. So I'm thinking majority of people that play this tournament will get 50 points. One will probably get 51 points, and one will get 52, and one will get 55 points, which is fine. It just means that I can get a high level. I can get over 90% of the points available. Background story is presented with the army on a Saturday lunchtime. That's fine. I can whip that up. In fact, I plan to anyway. Provide a clear and correct army list by the deadline. As long as you send your army in by the 16th of May, you'll start the tournament with 5 points. An army builder file is fine. It's preferred, but any legible document is fine. A scan of the table napkin on which you quickly scribbled your army list is not. That's fine. I actually use Battlescribe roster editor. It lays things out nicely for me. I'll do a video on that because I can do a video, and I can do a clear video because my video recording software records screens, so I'll sort one out later on. Very, very useful. Right, having 2 clear copies of the army list, relevant FAQs in the rules pack. Well, just by owning this, that's the rules pack. The FAQs, we haven't got any for high elves. Bring the book and 2 copies in the army list. Well, that's not a problem because I'll just print it off and I'll put 2 copies instead of 1, or 3 or 4 copies, and that's it. So finally, I mentioned the word that I'm going to talk about later is proxies. I've recently learnt the word proxy, but I know what a proxy is from voting. You can, if you vote, you can actually send somebody in your place who will vote on your behalf, and that's called a proxy. And pretty much proxy in Warhammer is exactly the same. But I've noticed that there's levels of proxy. I've got all my figures packed away, so I can't use figures. But the first, what I think is an obvious proxy is if you use a figure that just is not that figure. That's an obvious proxy. So, for example, I've got the old metal Bloodthirster of Khorne. I could proxy that in for an eagle. So this is a high elf eagle. Some tournaments won't allow it. In friendly games, you'll get away with it, but that's proxying. You're using one figure and you're calling it something else. The next level of proxy, which I don't know where I stand on. Basically, with proxies, the way that I feel is that I don't want to seriously proxy my army. But if I played anybody, even in a serious tournament, I would have no problems them placing a piece of paper on the board and saying this is a Bloodthirster or whatever. I'd have no problems with that. But I wouldn't do it myself. So the next is where you have a figure that's very, very similar. Lothern Seaguard. They have their shields, they have a spear. Could you then call them spearmen? Could you proxy them as a... They're high elves, they've got spears, but they're not really the same character, are they? Maybe you could convert them, I don't know. The next level is where you have something that could be something else, but you've defined it as something else. The best example I can think of is the Phoenix in the High Elf army. If you paint that up, when you buy the kit, you can make either the frosty one or the fiery one. Now, there's a big difference between the two. They've got different strengths. I think they've got different strengths, they've got different toughnesses, different points values. They are completely different creatures. Now, my question is, if I painted it up as a frost flamey one, and then I put it on the board and I said it's a frost one, is that then technically a proxy because you painted it? It is flamey one. I personally wouldn't do that. I would call that a flamey one, and not frosty one. The next one is like the WYSIWYG. If I've got a character who's got one weapon, and I put him on my army list as additional hand weapon, I think that's a proxy. However, that's really, really easy to get around because all you need to do is get a plastic sword or plastic anything. Additional hand weapon means additional hand weapon means it could be a club with a nail through it. So all you do is you get yourself a sword or a weapon of some description. You get a tiny, tiny blob of blue tack, and you stick it onto his back. Brilliant, done. That's called a conversion. Yeah, that's it. So I'm actually feeling a lot better now. Maybe videos is good for me. So I'm going to leave it at that. I did plan on a couple of videos. I've just not really been able to get around to doing them. I want to do a video on priming. I'll talk about it when I do the video, but that's the one I'm going to work on this video tomorrow, I hope. I feel a good opportunity to work on a video about strip and paint. I painted some Reavers the other day and I painted the horses. And I screwed it up because I didn't thin the paint down enough. And the horse's bum has come out all chalky. And I know I can't paint over it because the chalkiness will show through. I'm going to just give it a little light sand tonight or tomorrow to see if I can recover it. But to be honest with you, I think the whole horse thing, it's just come out. I'm not brilliant at horses, and I've gone and done white horses. I'm probably going to strip them and paint them grey. So I'll see how it goes. They may need stripping, so if I need to strip them, I can do a fantastic video on it. So with that, take care. Bye bye.